The next protocol that I want to talk about is eigrp. And eigrp is more intelligent than RIP. It calculates the metric based on different variables, and of course it creates neighborship with the routers that it sends and receives information from, and to, of course. So I remove RIP process using no router RIP command on all my routers. I want to start eigrp process, and each eigrp process has an autonomous system number. This autonomous system number, or AS number in brief, is used to create neighborship with other routers. For example, if I have an interface in an AS and other routers have interfaces in that AS, we can create neighborship provided these interfaces are in the same subnet as well. So we can have several AS numbers on a router, but normally we use only one AS number and create neighborship with other routers within that AS number. So I go to router 1 and start eigrp process using router eigrp and assign an AS number, and I assign number 1, for example, to this eigrp process. Now I should tell eigrp process which interface are going to participate in this process. To do that, I use network command, and now here I have a more advanced version of network command because I can add an IP address here, and I can add a wildcard mask, and that wildcard mask can be added to the first IP address, and this will show me which interfaces are within that range, and they will be in eigrp process. I want to add interfaces as a best practice individually. So I add the interface IP address 10.0, for example 12.1, and only add 0000 as wildcard mask. You can add this number to this, and you can get the end IP address that the interfaces that are within this range will be in eigrp process. For example, if I want to make this 0, let's do this, and add 0000255, that will be 10.0.0.12.0 to 10.0.12.255, and all interfaces that have IP address within this range will be in eigrp process. But as I told you, as a best practice, I want to assign interfaces individually. So I add 0000 as wildcard mask here and assign the exact interface IP address. And I have, of course, another interface in 13.1, and I have 150.1.1.1, that is my loopback IP address, and I assign all of them to eigrp process. Now I want to see IP protocol command result, and you can see that I have these interfaces in my routing. I do not have assigned any gateway. I have some values for calculating the metrics, and these values are named K1 through K5, and you can say that K1 is bandwidth, K2 is delay, K2 is, reliability, K3 is delay, K4 is load, K5 is MTU, or no, I was wrong, sorry. K1 is bandwidth, K2 is load, K3 is delay, K4 is reliability, and K5 is MTU. So the values that are 0 means that this value will not take any effect in calculating the metric. Those that are 1 will take effect, of course. For example, here we have K1 bandwidth as 1. That means bandwidth will be considered during calculating the metric, and delay, of course, is considered too. So we have bandwidth and delay in calculating, but you can, of course, change these metric values to add other parameters to calculate our metrics. Okay. Now that I have this configured on router 1, I go to router 2 and configure eigrp on that. router eigrp1, and now see what happens whenever I add a network. If this network is in the same subnet with the network that I added to router 2, and these two routers are, in neighborship together, have a link together, they will get neighborships 10, 0, 12, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, and it happens instantly. You can see that we have an adjacency. That means two routers are neighbor now. And I add other networks as well, 151.2.2, and I add the 24 network here too. And NWR, let's go to router 3, router eigrp1. I use the same ACE number as router 1, network 10.0.13.3, and you can see the neighborship is coming up instantly. And if I do not see this, that means I have wrong configuration on router 1. Let's see the configuration on router 1. I have 11.1, and this is the wrong number. Let's see the running config, section router eigrp, and here I see the wrong network. So I disable this using no command, and now I add 13.1 and delete this. Now the neighborship should come up, and you should see this is working. I have another network 151.33. I have another network that is 10.0.34. No, that's 172. 72.16.34.3. And then save configuration. Here I start router eigrp1. I add network 10.0.24.4, and we should have neighborship between these and router 2, network 151.4.4. This is the loopback interface, and I have network 172.16.34.4, and I should see neighborship is there with router 4. Okay, now that I have eigrp configured on all of them, let's see some verification commands to eigrp process. So I go and save everything here, and I save this on GNS3 too. Okay. On router 1, first of all, I want to see which interfaces are in eigrp process using show IP eigrp interfaces. And you can see that every interface on my router is participating in eigrp process. And you can see that on fast00 I have one neighbor, that means I have one peer. On fast01 I have one peer as well. And very, very important thing here is just this. Let's see another command. Show IP eigrp neighbors will tell me the eigrp neighbors that I have. You can see this is the ordinal number that shows me the number, the order of neighborship. This is not important, just you can see that it starts with 0 and increments by 1. Every router that I had to my neighbors, this will be there. Okay, first of all, I can see that 10.0.13.3 is one neighbor, and it is accessible through fast01. And 10.0.12.2 is another neighbor that is accessible through fast00. And a very important piece of information is here, queue count. This should be 0. That means I have sent and received any updates that is necessary. So I have nothing in my, queue to send or receive. That means my connection is fully working. So you should see qcount 0 if you see some more, numbers here, for example, 1, 2, or anything else. That means that your neighborship is not working well. So whenever I talk about troubleshooting, I will tell you why qcount is not working. But one of the reasons may be wrong, VLAN assignments. Okay, now that I know every neighborship, let's see the routing table. So IP route will tell me that these routing tables have some routes that are flagged with D, and this D means eigrp routes. And of course, I still have auto summary here. If I try to ping 10, 0, for example, 24, 4, that is quite possible. But if I try to ping 150, 133, this is not possible. Again, this is because of auto summary being enabled here. So I go to routing process using router eigrp1 and disable this auto summary. And you can see the neighborship is refreshed. Router 2, router eigrp1, no auto summary. Router 3, no auto summary. And here on router 4, I do the same. Router eigrp1, no auto summary. And now let's check the routing table and see if we can ping. Show IP route. Now you can see that I have accessibility to every destination. Ping 151.33 would be successful now. And this is the difference between auto summary and no auto summary, and you can now apply it to your eigrp network. The next thing I want to talk about is OSPF process, and that will be something different, and it will need some more configuration than eigrp.